Alright, hey everyone, Wanderbody's here, and welcome to the game that possibly never ends. We're not really sure.
Well, it looks like... Look at the map just a little bit more. It seems like you've already traversed much of that area, unless there's something on that peninsula going into that ocean.
Well, they might also add bonus nodes
up to the
and who
desert.
knows
What about up there?
Up here?
It just seems like the frozen north.
Okay, so quick thing before we go too far. Your favorite. Quickly going to learn some abilities. Well, not for him. Not for him. For her, maybe. Grab Darkstorm. So some of these are classes that you've straight up never heard of.
Oh, really? Which ones? Reaver?
Yeah, Reaver is supposed to fight large groups. I don't actually know if they're that helpful. Let's see. They seem okay. How about let's not with the Reaver. Let's switch Blade Wolf to the thing that he always has wanted to be. A proper werewolf. Use a Lunar Crest to change his special class. This will consume a Lunar Crest and permanently open up werewolf class for this character only. Yes? Okay, so now he is a proper werewolf. Check his equipment. Oh, I need to go buy some things. I gotta go buy some daggers, actually. Do that. Shell has walked off. Whatever she's up to, probably important. So I'm just gonna do solo shopping while we're here. And then when she gets back, well, we'll continue on. Anyway, so we need some daggers and other things, because apparently... Oh. Actually, let's maybe get a bow. Bow does more damage. Now, can she use... She can use crossbows. Let's see. He needs a... Oh, a Tierite sword. Or a Tierite dagger. Dagger has the crit bonus. But less raw damage. And she's still got the auto crossbow, which isn't that much worse. Maybe durability on her is worthwhile. Okay, confirm purchases. The other thing I want to do is I'm going to buy... We have a scythe, we have a maul. We have a sword, but I'm going to buy another one. We're going to buy 2 more daggers, just in case. 2 axes. I'm just stocking up here. 2 maces. Not even sure who uses maces. Huh, energy mace sounds interesting. Extra rapier. Just in case, because I've actually had it happen a couple of times where I will, not start a fight necessarily, but I'll go into a fight and realize one of my characters just straight up doesn't have a weapon, and it's like, oh, that's bad. Oh, we don't need any more guns. Buy some more staves. You okay? You're good to go? Okay, we are good. So, let's go back and take a look at this. So, we made Blade Wolf into the Blade Wolf that Blade Wolf always wanted to be. So he is a werewolf. Werewolf has
a legit werewolf.
Yeah, so Bite has a chance of inflicting poison. Leap. Character displaces themselves to the target location. Cannot be a water tile. Deals damage to everybody in the area. So that's straight up just jump. Regenerate. Renew to the target and removes everything. Cripple. Fetid breath. Can weaken things. Cunning slash. 100% accuracy. Okay, that's not bad. Owl. No weakness too. Increases the character's chances of landing a crit by 25%. Stacks with no weakness. Extra damage. Up to the target. And on killing blow, rebirth will be ignored. Interesting. I'm not actually sure if...
Have you acquired every class then? It looks like
No.
the table's all full.
No. There are 20 classes, I believe, total. 6 of them are secret. Let's see. Actually, if we go back into the troops menu, we can see crafting. So, items, nothing is ready. Here. I don't think there's anything I can make. There's like the black robe, but I don't know if that provides any new benefits. Let's see. Gadgets. I guess we might as well make all of these. At some point, I'm going to have a gadgeteer. Or I'll...
6 classes are secret, you say?
I believe so. Badges. Yep, 6.
Do you think there's an ultimate class that is associated with each of the main characters?
No.
We don't have a sixth main character.
Each of these 6 are actually for non-story characters.
Oh.
So, werewolf, vampire, probably some kind of undead, you know, to go with that skull.
No, okay, that makes sense. What are the other symbols? I can't really see them from all the way
It's
down
like
here.
an upside down heart with with several concentric circles on it, and then 2 crowns. Many of them actually use the same resources. Some kind of purple crystal.
The purple crystal might be the Ma's influence, or
maybe, because I see energized crystal, dormant crystals, duplicate,
probably
and
like
then
an
feathers.
eldritch crystal.
Yeah, find out.
Feathers could be from the Ma. The Ma was a bird, wasn't it?
Maybe. Let's see. Oh, do we want to...
Didn't we already...
Next time we record together, you know that zombie with the leather? Or with the letter?
The letter?
It's a side quest. I have to collect pelt on it.
Oh. Well, if we go back, will it still be there?
Yeah, it's still there. I just have to make sure I have one character set up to do collect
I thought Blade
pelts.
Wolf could collect pelts.
Yeah, class change, or not class change. Set abilities. So trickery, we want to do... I'm trying to remember which... Is it survival?
Survival would probably
Survival,
have
collect
it.
pelt.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. Okay, and that should be good. So let's go to the gorge. I believe it's collect pelt.
Or it would have to be
Yep, there it is.
steel, right?
It's one or the other. Well, we have somebody set for stealing and we have somebody set for collecting pelts.
Okay, what I would do is I would send Raynor and Blade Wolf after the zombie. Have Raynor try
Scoundrel.
stealing from it.
Scoundrel. Scoundrel. Scoundrel.
Wait, what?
I have a bunch of scoundrels, apparently.
Ew. Well, in any
Let's see.
case,
Bizarro.
have them attempt to steal first, and then if that yields nothing, have Blade Wolf skin them.
Okay, that should work.
But that doesn't really make sense. You would think that as an item... Oh, wait.
Yeah, a
Did
ranger
she-
with the right skills should do it. Yep, ranger.
Oh, I see. She actually did the whole... Oh, there's the cadaver with the letter again.
Yep. So we just need to go collect belt off of it.
Mm-hmm.
Whee. That was one hell of a jump.
Woo! Is that akin to a cat bee?
Yeah,
With very savage
It's a
teeth.
Zozit.
I mean, it reminds me of a Cheshire cat, in a way.
Bleh. I love that sound effect. It's it very much reminds me of the Zoombinis sound effect. From when I was a kid, you there was like mud or something that would get tossed around and it would go
Zumbinis? I never actually played that.
you might actually really like it.
Wait a minute, weren't they collectible action figures or things?
Nope. No, Zumbinis were actually kind of basic. Effectively,
Were they like Neopets?
no. Zumbinis were like these little round people, and you could like change their appearances slightly, so different color hair, different types of hair.
Alright. It's interesting how he takes steps when he's levitating.
I mean, I'm sure if I started levitating, I'd probably still try and walk initially. Well, I'm like floating around. Okay. I don't know what's going on out there. I'm not thinking about it too hard.
I think it's hammering or something.
Yeah. Hey, we do have sneak attack. Bango. But anyway, so Zumbinis, it was like a bunch of logic puzzles. And a lot of them was like matching your Zumbinis together for various things and like sorting them based on like physical features, which, you know, I guess now that I'm older, I like to joke that it's the game teaches intrinsic racism, because you're, like, literally discriminating against, like, Zoombinis with glasses. And, like, more or less saying, like, you can't get on this boat because you have glasses. And it's like, what?
Wait, that was a puzzle?
Yes.
So you would have to go and remake your character or adjust
No,
them?
so effectively what you're trying to do...
Or you're supposed to try to create a party that fulfills different... Wait, can you explain this? Do you only have one Zoombini at a time or multiple?
No, you have, like, a whole horde of the things. And give me a second.
And are you supposed to try to create randomized traits with the hope that...
No, so you customize every single one of them.
Okay.
Let's see. Sorry, just mildly focused on keeping her alive. That is actually too much healing. But so, effectively, you start in this kind of, like, prison island.
Okay.
And somehow you're escaping.
Okay.
And let's see. I want to do free navigation for a second. What are you weak to? Dark. Got it. Immediately, I think that'll heal the zombie, but that's okay. But so you're trying to escape, and you're bringing them through a series of puzzles, and you can even like kind of choose like which direction you're going. In all of this. And at the end of it is this like kind of paradise town for the Zoombinis to live in. And so you have to try and get as many of them as you possibly can. And interestingly enough, I guess the more Zoombinis that you rescue, the harder the game gets too. So you get like progressively more difficult puzzles. Let's see. Item.
But the puzzles are surely just getting people past a point because they bear certain traits?
Yeah. Not always, but in a lot of cases, yes. It was not the most exciting or even, like, in-depth game, unfortunately. And there were, like, some pretty decent puzzles for the time. It's just when it came down to it, it really did end up with sorts these characters based on their physical traits. So I'd always joke that it was racism.
Well, in the instance of someone bearing glasses,
well,
that would be
it
something
wasn't always
entirely different.
Yeah, sort of, but like,
so
it was still like teaching discriminative.
What would discrimination against glasses be called?
I mean, honestly, bullying.
The whole Four Eyes business?
Yeah.
What's interesting is, I don't recall Four Eyes ever really being a...
I think it was a 80s insult and, like, maybe early 90s, but also mostly just, you know, TV and media.
Yeah, I never actually heard it used on the playground. Then again, I don't recall too many kids having glasses in elementary school. I believe it wasn't really until middle school that I saw kids with glasses. I always feel bad for the really little babies with glasses. Have you ever seen those?
Yeah.
How would they have even tested for that?
I bet there are absolutely vision tests.
Because most vision tests require you to identify numbers and letters, so how would they do that with a baby? You understand what I mean?
Yeah. I understand what you mean. I bet they have easy ways of doing it.
Yeah, because it always puzzled me. In the event that a child did have poor vision from the very start, when they actually came to the point where they would be learning how to read and write, if they just couldn't see it, their teachers very well could believe, hey, you know, they just can't grasp the material. Maybe they need the additional classes or additional aid. And
I know in my brother's case, he had a speech impediment.
Was it the kind where he stammered or couldn't formulate his sentences?
Yeah,
or...
he had trouble with sentences.
In what manner?
You know, I honestly am not sure.
Then again, it must have been a long time ago for you.
Yeah, and I was never particularly privy to it. All I know is that he was going for speech therapy and was being put in, like, the special education classes. Which is actually really frustrating for him, because they were learning a lot of, like, really basic...
Yeah, an interesting story for me is that I experienced a similar thing. I adored reading and writing as a kid. And I was reading books that, sort of like how you were saying that you were reading advanced books as a child.
Yeah.
I was reading comic books and the like that had quite eloquent language because of Classics Illustrated and such, because they derived much of their speech from the novels themselves. And then, of course, I was watching Star Trek and the like, so I fancied myself having a good vocabulary and being a swift reader. But in 4th grade, I was placed in a cluster, as they called them. It was a very peculiar school. It was an open concept where 5 classrooms would have nothing dividing them, but shelves and things that teachers put up in...
Oh, I forgot Blade Wolf has counterattack.
Uh-oh.
And I got...
So you're accidentally injuring him when you...
Well, no. I didn't. But I almost did. Blade Wolf missed.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Thank goodness.
Yep.
So, there were 5 classrooms per cluster that were hexes, as they were referred to. And there were 5 of these. And my friends just happened to be put in classrooms in a different cluster than me. There was always cluster 1, which was for the 1st and 2nd graders, and cluster 2, which was for the 2nd and 3rd graders, and then cluster 3, I think, was for 2nd and 3rd graders again, and then cluster 4 and 5 were for 4th and 5th graders. Maybe cluster 5 eventually became exclusively 5th graders. No, because then my friends were in it in 4th grade. In any case, I was separated from all of my friends in 4th grade. And so I made a bunch of new friends. But they just so happened to be other nerdy students that were involved in reading like comic books and manga and such. But because they had difficulties with reading and math, they put me in that same group, even though what would the proper term be? Was it just by association?
Yeah.
That they put me there, even though I clearly had the ability. And after a couple sessions, they're like, yeah, she doesn't need these extra courses. But I remember my mother being upset because, yeah, I was an advanced reader. Why did I have to go into that group? I suppose it's that whole judged by the company you keep thing.
Yeah.
But the thing was, so many of the other kids in the class were catty, and they weren't nerds. They didn't like the same television shows and action figures and games that I did. I think what happened was in 4th grade, everyone started dividing into the sports kids and the not... You know what I mean? Because I don't recall there being organized sports before 4th grade. Do you remember there being organized sports much earlier than 4th grade?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
At least for where I lived. Absolutely.
Okay. Because I always thought it was a thing that the older kids got into. In elementary school, the older kids were the 4th and 5th
for
graders.
me, most of the organized sports were... I'm not going to say necessarily external, but it wasn't organized through the school.
Mm-hmm. Then again, I think one of my friends may have started soccer as early as 3rd grade. But yeah, everyone wanted to be a part of soccer. I think it's one of the first sports teams you could join in elementary school.
Yep.
Because you didn't really have basketball. Kids weren't tall enough for that. And then racket sports weren't really conducive to teams. And then volleyball, once again, something that taller kids would do. So it seemed like soccer was the starter.
It was soccer
sport.
and baseball.
Oh, baseball, of course.
Little League. And I was on a basketball team for a bit, but my team was garbage. Namely...
Oh, did you get the letter?
Yeah, I got the locket. We'll have to walk around, I think, before it pops up.
Oh.
But I was on a basketball team, but, like, the, like, final tournament came around, and, like, half the teams just straight up didn't show up, so it was just like,
oh,
well,
forfeit the game?
yeah,
That
kind
thing?
of. So I think we ended up taking half the other team's members who were not so interested.
Well, they wouldn't want to win against their own team, would they?
Yeah, it was very much like a... I don't even remember if anybody won. I was trying my hardest, and I was quite mad. Equipment... Oh.
And you've probably told the story of how you lied on your eye exam numerous times.
Because I wanted glasses.
Because you wanted glasses.
And in the end, I did in fact need glasses, so...
Mm-hmm.
Why does assassin require gunner? I don't get it.
Maybe it's because a number of assassins are affiliated with snipers and pistoliers.
Let's see. Yeah. Learn abilities, werewolf. Learn leap, leap. Got it. What's up? Oh. Let's see. There's so many abilities to learn and sort through. The UI for this could have been a lot faster. I don't know how to describe it, but it is a bit of a slog getting through this.
It's menu click, click. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's a lot of nested menus, and I feel like...
Nested. That's a good word.
Yep.
It's kind of like my folder organization for my artwork and stuff. I have, I think, 6 or 8 general categories for various things on my computer. I don't like having things in documents or in videos or in photos because I like to be able to access. And so, yeah, I have a lot of nested folders within folders within folders.
Ooh.
Local tavern.
Cavern.
Or cavern. Why would it be a tavern?
I don't know.
No, I'm just wondering why I read it as tavern rather than cavern.
Okay, so Rainer, Lana.
It would be humorous if it was in fact a tavern. The
Wolf.
creatures come up to you. And what that roughly translates into is, you know, please make yourself comfortable. We'll bring you...
It's letting me have 7 people this time around. That's nice.
Oh, interesting. I believe the collapsed tunnel we're looking for is directly beyond this cave. We'll have to clear this area before we can proceed, though.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah,
that's
there's
not
more
the
of those
range.
cavern dwellers with the sacks full of... They seem to have raw meat on them. You noticed how they had a snacking ability?
Oh, you're right.
So maybe raw meat
And there are flies just flying around them. Yeah, they probably just...
carry raw meat
Oh,
with them.
that's gross.
It's not just because they themselves stink. It's because whatever they're carrying with them stinks too. Oh, I can't imagine though, depending on if that's a leather sack or a fabric sack. Could you imagine the raw meat acquiring fuzzies and little leather bits and... Huh?
I would like to avoid this topic. Probably.
It's probably why, for travel, you always had dried food.
Yeah.
Dried and roasted nuts, and berries and fruits, and jerky. Because then it would definitely be less likely to pick up things because of moisture. And also, they would be preserved for far longer because of the salt content, correct?
Correct.
Because what is it? Bacteria and the things that would normally attack a raw piece of fruit or meat or whatever, they can't propagate in the salt, correct? Is that what it is? Or is it because it's so devoid of moisture? Is it...
I have actually no idea.
I mean, I think salt fulfills both. Preventing moisture, and then also preventing the propagation just because of the salinity. Which I believe is directly, like, the reason why salt is so adverse to cells is because it does sap the moisture from it.
Yeah, I will admit, I don't know.
Well, so the interesting thing is, like, our cells contain water, but it's even more obvious in plant cells because plant cells, the vacuoles that store the water, they actually, because of water tension, provide structure to the cell.
Yeah.
And that's why plants wilt when their vacuoles are depleted. So I suppose we can become wrinkly with the lack of moisture.
Yeah. Or, no, don't we become wrinkly with an overabundance of moisture?
It's both ways, actually. Because the reason why the elderly are cautioned to use moisturizers is specifically because their cells are losing their elasticity, and because of dryness, they need to add it with moisturizers. But then, yeah, when we jump into a pool and stay there for... Oh, do you know what it is, Wander?
What?
So you learned about water and how it always tends towards things that are full, correct?
Yeah.
So just by sheer... because of polarity or something, just by sheerly having more water in a space, it actually drags water out.
Oh.
Or am I getting that wrong? And it's a place that's lacking in water through osmosis. It's osmosis. It's like some kind of law with osmosis about where water travels between one cell and another, or one source and another. It's been so long since I took AP biology.
I never took AP biology, and my regular biology teacher was not great.
Mm-hmm.
Let's fight. Wow, these guys are very weak. I'm apparently quite over-leveled for this mission. I think it's because we've been doing side content for a while, or they forgot to balance this place correctly. I'm not entirely sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'd like to brush up a little bit more on my science. I always enjoy reading about it because it explains so much about how the world functions, how organisms function.
Well, instead of watching TV shows.
But I watch a lot of documentaries, too.
You also watch a lot of random garbage.
Sometimes I want to see a fantasy or a sci-fi story just to see what they implement. And if I get disappointed with it, then I go back to watching my documentaries. I've noticed an awful lot of documentaries, though, especially pertaining to, what are the ones that have been most popular recently? Like Blue Planet or Our World, or
yeah.
I don't know. There's been a lot of documentary series recently about planet Earth and the animals that dwell there and such, but they always separate them into, these are the oceans, these are the Arctic, this is the jungle. And so I feel like I'm watching the same documentary 10 times over because each of them focus on a particular environment and what dwells there, which is good though, because I do enjoy watching those when I'm, say, brainstorming creatures for my personal fantasy universe. It's like, or a sci-fantasy universe, I should say. It's like, oh yeah, you know, this animal implements this kind of adaptation in order to, say, hunt this prey or survive in the treetops, or this is a particular behavior that they exhibit in this circumstance. It's like, wow, that's a neat idea. You know, maybe I'll create a hybrid mishmash creature that has some of these adaptations. Because if you're creating an alien bestiary, it's best to have some of the information grounded in real biology. Which begs the question of dragons. I love dragons. Dragons are one of my favorite mythological creatures, but if you think about it anatomically, they are very implausible. Because they always have those wings attached to their, what would be their shoulder blades on their back. So either they would have to have like a multi-shoulder system, and also the wings, depending on how large the creature itself is, the wings would have to be immensely large. And also the connections, most people when they draw them, myself included, in some instances, when you draw the connection between the wings and the shoulders or the shoulder blades or the back, it's almost like it's just a bony appendage like you would see on, say, a bat or a bird, but there's like pectoral muscles and there's back muscles and everything attached to those. So either you have to layer more of those muscles in, or it actually is a is it musculoskeletal system? There's a compound word that uses both skeletal and musculature.
Yeah.
But yeah, they just isn't as feasible. That's why I think most recently in a lot of media you've been seeing more and more wyverns popping up. The dragons that have their forearms, the arms, if you will, of them also serving as the wings.
Yep.
Rather than...
I think there's a lot more that you can do with that kind of visual design anyway.
I mean, if you think about it, they have to trundle around on their arms. Like, have you ever seen a bat occasionally? Nah, they never walk on it.
They will kind of do a weird crawl, especially when young.
Yeah, they do a weird crawl, but I've never seen them... I've seen more dragons that are wyverns have a more ape-like stance.
I mean, really, clearly what we should do is probably play Monster Hunter at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Because...
Well, it's almost like in the ape stance, think of like a gorilla. It's as though they're standing on the little claw nubbins that are the joint that would traditionally be the quote-unquote hand. And they usually use those as a means to stand on their forelimbs. And then the wings taper back. Oh. Otherwise, they have to be completely bipedal. It's interesting, though, because if you think about it, most birds that I've seen, they never use their wings as a means of crawling.
Only when they're wet. I think they will kind of sort of drag themselves along when they're like drenched with their wings, but that's about it.
I'm just thinking about how ducks and swans and geese and such will fold them daintily back into their bodies, but their bodies are these barrels essentially made to float. And they just waddle along.
Yep. I don't think they're really balanced to drag though. Most ducks' legs are like directly placed, whereas like for quadrupeds, you know, bats don't really do upright.
No, they can't.
Yeah.
Their legs are pretty much meant for, what, dangling upside down?
Yeah, their legs are for dangling upside down and maybe kind of propping themselves right side. I don't know. I'd have to watch more animals. Hello. Oh, Tangrel has been unlocked. And we got another looter crest from that. Sure, why not? Alright. Well, I guess with this, we will see you guys in the next episode of Fell Seal Bat Investigators. And as always, thanks for watching.